Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We're going to give it a few seconds to let a few other members join in, and then we will get started. All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to NSCS February ScholarCAST, Finding Your Power in College. My name is Courtney Pomeran, and I am the Member Engagement Specialist with NSCS. We are happy to have you all join us for this fantastic presentation. As everyone gets settled in, I wanted to go over some housekeeping notes. We are recording the session for those who have missed the presentation and for those who would like a refresher about the presentation on a later date. We will be uploading the recording of tonight's presentation onto Scholar Central within the next 48 hours. And finally, we will have enough time for a Q&A session after our speaker has completed her presentation. So if you have any questions, please utilize the questions box. It's going to be in your control panel. The chat area does not work, so we'll have to utilize the questions area for any questions. Please be sure to have all of your questions into the Q&A box while Karen is giving her presentation. I will pull those questions for Karen to answer at the end. Okay, without further ado, I would like to introduce our special guest speaker tonight. Her name is Karen Bieber, Director of Business Development with PowerNotes. Karen's background includes being a classroom teacher, a motivational speaker on collegiate success, and has worked to help colleges identify and capture and report on the learning outcomes in higher education to help increase student success. Karen is also currently working on her first book that addresses empowerment, inclusion, and equity. Please help me welcome Karen back on to the NSCS virtual stage.
Hello, everyone. Courtney, is there a link for me to share my screen?
Yes, ma'am. Just give me one moment.
Great.
And here it goes.
Okay. Wonderful. Well, welcome everyone to the National Society of Collegiate Scholars, ScholarCAST. Thank you for attending my session, and I hope that I'm able to provide you with some insight for collegiate success. There are certain things I remember from the day I graduated from Indiana University. Now, I'm not going to share with you the year, but it was in the spring and the entire ceremony needed to be moved indoors for the first time in decades due to inclement weather. I attended graduation with a group of about 20 friends. The message on top of my mortarboard in masking tape said, "Thanks, Mom and Dad." And our keynote speaker was Jane Pauley from the Today Show. So, okay, now you know a little bit about my age. And I was super nervous and excited to move to Indianapolis for my first real job. My friends and I walked into Assembly Hall for the ceremony and found our seats. Our time had finally arrived after 4 years. The typical pomp and circumstance took place that happens at virtually all graduations. And after the university president made his address to the student body, the conferring of degrees was going to be done by the provost. I remember the provost had the student body from the College of Arts and Sciences stand up, and I was thinking, all right, this is it. I'm about to be a college graduate. But that wasn't exactly the case. With a couple thousand students standing, he congratulated all of us on our hard work and determination. And I'm thinking again, here it comes, 4 years of tests, papers, and all-nighters are about to come to a close. Wrong again. The next thing he did surprised, I think, everyone. He proceeded to ask that students with a 3.0 GPA or higher remain standing and everyone else could take their seat. Now, I was an okay student in college with lots of ambition and energy, but I didn't take my academics as seriously as I should have, so I sat down, as did a lot of others. He then made some more congratulatory statements to the standing students, but then asked for all students with a 3.3 GPA or higher to remain standing. Everyone else take their seats. It was at this point I noticed that a couple of my friends were still standing, but it didn't surprise me because I knew how smart they were. At least I thought I knew how smart they were. The provost repeated the stand-up, sit-down exercise 2 more times, recognizing students with a 3.7 GPA or higher, and then finally a perfect 4.0. I was stunned. 2 of my friends, Matt and Lisa, were still standing at the end, with both of them bestowed with summa cum laude honors, the highest of all academic honors. And I'm thinking, what? Are you kidding me? I have no idea that Matt and Lisa were that smart. In college, Matt and Lisa and I would go to bars, fraternity parties, weekend retreats with the Student Foundation, and just hang out with each other. And I had zero idea they were so academically successful. After graduation, Lisa went to work in Indianapolis for Eli Lilly as a research scientist and is now a senior statistical programmer for Pfizer. Matt went to law school, got his MBA, and founded one of the most successful job search engines in the world, careerbuilder.com. A few years after graduation at a reunion, I asked both of them about their college success and how they did it, and what was their secret. They laughed, and they couldn't believe I remembered that moment during graduation. And I knew they were embarrassed to answer, but they obliged. I will share with you their answer at the end of the presentation. So what exactly is success? Well, success can be defined in many different ways. Some people measure success by how happy they are. Some measure success by the size of their bank account. And some measure success by social status. So what is success? I mean, anyone can look it up in a dictionary. That's easy. The Oxford Dictionary defines success as an accomplishment of an aim or a purpose. And Webster's dictionary defines success as a favorable or desired outcome. The important thing is for you to determine what success means for you. Now, I think that all of you have already achieved a measure of success as you are members of one of the best and largest honor societies in the country. You already know what you needed to do to get here. So how can you maintain this forward momentum in college? Well, I'm going to share with you today some proven techniques and ideas on making the most of the next few years and beyond to reach your destination, however you personally define success. By knowing ahead of time what it takes to be successful, no matter how you define it, the more likely you are to achieve it. Put another way, you'll score a lot more touchdowns in football if you know what a goal line is, where it's located on the field, and the rules involved in getting the ball across the line. I like to refer to these techniques and ideas as power. So let's find your power by breaking down each of its letters. So P stands for purpose, passion, and preparation. Purpose is the reason or the why behind what we do, primarily for others. For example, healthcare professionals' purpose is to provide quality healthcare to others. An educator's purpose is to provide knowledge to others. Basically, purpose is what we do that contributes to the greater good. Now, passion. Passion is different from purpose. Passion is about emotions, the motivation, and what makes us feel good. Where passion can be all over the place, wild and exciting, purpose is much more focused. But the truth is that not everyone has a true passion and the ability to pursue it as a vocation. In fact, following one's passion may be a dangerous career choice because passions come and go, while purpose is hopefully more permanent. For example, if after graduation you want to work for a small to mid-level organization, go to work in a more technical field, or even start your own business, studying French literature or philosophy might not get you to where you want to go. So discover who you are and purpose, your passion, or I'm sorry, so discover who you are and pursue your passion with purpose. Now let's talk about preparation. I've heard so many stories about how so-and-so is successful because they got lucky, but that's an easy explanation and there's a lot more to it. Roman philosopher Seneca is credited for saying that luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. Basically, always be prepared for the opportunity you are seeking. So how can you do this? Well, I believe that preparation is a combination of curiosity, education, and direction. Be curious and open to explore and think outside the box and your comfort zone. By doing this, you are allowing yourself to gain experience on overcoming unforeseen challenges and obstacles, and in turn, preparing yourself for when you encounter these things again, when opportunity presents itself in ways that you did not anticipate. Continue to educate yourself in and out of the classroom. Some of life's greatest lessons do not happen in an academic setting. This can apply to getting involved in extracurricular activities on campus, by joining clubs and organizations, or maybe you have an internship or a part-time job while in school. You all are already on the right path by joining NSCS. When you do something outside of the classroom, you will be developing skills that all employers will look for. Things like group skills, leadership skills, communication skills, and so much more. And finally, one more time in the wise words of Seneca, if one does not know to which port one is sailing, no wind is favorable. Write down your goals. Once you do that, you'll be taking the first step towards making it a reality. Now, think about the next steps you need to take to achieve that goal, and along the way, try to avoid activities and even negative thoughts that can impede your direction towards that goal. Let's move on to O. Organization and optimism. Growing up, my father used to get on my case about keeping my room clean and organized. I thought this was because of what he learned in boot camp during his military service, but that was only partially true. I later learned what his true lesson was. Organization is the key to success. Now is the time to get in the habit of organizing your research, notes, papers, and presentations. Organize your schedule for classes, clubs, and free time. And once you do that, you'll discover that you actually have more free time than you originally thought you had. Now, as I mentioned before, negative thoughts can impede the path to your goal if you allow it. If you come across a situation that feels like it may knock you off your path, remember what your goal is. Nothing is ever a straight path. Life will offer lots of twists and turns, but you will get to where you want to be by facing those obstacles straight on. When I was going through a particularly difficult time in my life, a friend told me that facts are friendly when you face them. Burying your head in the sand will not make a situation go away. And once you come up for air, nothing will have changed. So embrace the twists and turns in the road, but keep your eye on the prize. You never know, taking the twists and turns will present unforeseen opportunities that you have been preparing for. On to W. Words of wisdom. In my research for this presentation, I did an interview with my dad, who was a college professor for 30 years. I wanted to know from his perspective what made for a successful student in his class. Well, of course, the first thing he told me was that his most successful students were the ones who were organized, but I wanted more information. During this conversation, he kept telling me stories about his own college experience, his first job, his coworkers and friends. The conversation was going in a different direction than what I expected, but I kept listening. Over the course of about 2 hours, I realized a common thread to all of his stories. They were all about the words of wisdom from people he admired that helped him achieve his goals. One caveat here, be careful who you listen to. My sister's high school guidance counselor told her that she probably shouldn't go to college. My sister was devastated that someone in that position would say something so limiting. I won't go into great detail here about my sister's journey, but I will tell you that she went to college. She started several successful businesses and was invited to the White House by Michelle Obama to sit on a panel to discuss how the toy industry is marketing all the wrong messages to young boys and girls. It's a good thing she didn't listen to her high school guidance counselor. During college and in your career, seek out those professors, friends, and others who can mentor, advise, and help you achieve your goals. Surround yourself with these people who will lift you up instead of holding you back. Let's go on to E. Effort, entrepreneurship, and extra credit. Now, however you define success, and no matter what your goals are, keep in mind that college is not a sprint. It is a marathon. It is going to take effort on your part over a long period of time to achieve your goals. It won't be easy, but keep in mind that when you graduate and start interviewing, whether it's with a future employer or a graduate school, they're going to want to know that you put in the effort during college. Lots of people will go into interviews saying they're a hard worker, or they're willing to put forth the effort necessary to get the job done. But employers and graduate schools will be looking for proof. They will ask behavioral questions like, what is the most difficult situation you have been in and how did you work through it? You can't fake an answer to a question like that. You either stepped up or you didn't. Now, entrepreneurship is the ability to take on risk and push for change. It's being able to say that this or that process isn't working and finding a new and better way. This is going to involve risk, the risk of failure and extra work. The extra work may or may not pay off, but are you willing to take the risk? Embracing change and being able to adapt quickly will make you a strong contributor to any organization that you're a part of. Now, going back to the interview with my dad, I asked him what students could do if they found themselves struggling academically, and his answer surprised me. He told me that he never offered extra credit, but if a student asked for extra credit, they would have to put together a paper outlining the extra credit idea with supporting materials, and based upon what they submitted, he would consider giving them extra credit. I asked him, why would you do that? And he answered, by having them do research, putting together an outline, and eventually submitting a paper, the students were doing enough learning to earn the extra credit. It's pretty darn smart. Never be afraid to ask for extra credit from your professors. And let's go on to R, reading and rhetoric. Read this, read that, and then read some more. I know in college that you have a ton of assigned readings for class, and the last way you want to spend your free time is to read even more. But keep this in mind. Reading different genres outside of academics can expand your vocabulary, improve your writing, reduce stress, and a whole bunch more. Related to academic reading is taking notes on what you read, whether in digital form or print form. A great way to help with retention of reading is to take notes and then take notes. Notes is a rereading of your original notes and putting them into a secondary outline of notes, creating a study guide. Another thing to remember when reading in college is that if your professor's name is on the spine of the book, make sure you read for understanding. It's true that these professors are experts in the field, that they actually wrote the book, and it will definitely be on the test. And remember too, when you're interviewing for a job, if the CEO of the company has written a book, read it before the interview. Now, moving on to rhetoric. Rhetoric is the art of effective or persuasive speaking or writing. This is a communication skill that everyone needs to possess, regardless of the field you plan to enter. You will have many papers and presentations during your tenure in college, and mastering the art of rhetoric will be essential. Effective rhetoric can mean the difference between getting a job or acceptance into a graduate program. So at the beginning of this presentation, I told you about my friends Matt and Lisa and how I asked them about the secrets to their success. Here's how they responded. They both told me that back in college, it was their full-time job to get an education. They treated college like a job. They got up at the same time every day, showered, got dressed, went to class. From 9 to 5 every day, it was their job to get an education, to research, to study, to participate in clubs of their choosing. Monday through Friday, they dedicated themselves to school. Nights and weekends were free time to do whatever they wanted. They never missed going out with friends. People respected their boundaries, and they didn't succumb to peer pressure. Now, you can do this. You survived the hardest part, which is freshman year. You now know what it takes to get good grades, how to study, and how to take tests. And remember, freshman year is the most critical year for grades. Getting your GPA up after receiving failing grades can be an almost impossible hole to dig yourself out of. Sophomore year is when you'll start to hit your stride. You're no longer a rookie. You will take more classes related to your major and can now take on more responsibilities in your clubs and organizations and start looking at summer internships. It's a good idea to have more than one internship, and it all starts sophomore year. Junior year is when you start getting those leadership roles in your extracurriculars and getting more experience through an internship. Your classes are almost entirely in your major, and you're revving up for senior year. And then finally, senior year has arrived. You have the grades, you did your internships, gained real world skills, and treated college like it's your full-time job. This is the year you start interviewing for that first job or applying to graduate school. If you've done all these things I've talked about, you're going to be in excellent shape for the next phase of your life. I want to thank all of you for attending the presentation this evening, and good luck with next steps. And now I will take answer any questions.
All right. What a great presentation. Thank you, Karen, for sharing your knowledge and stories of your friends, Lisa and John. It's very inspiring. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Well, we do have some questions. There's still time, everyone, if you have any questions, to type them into the questions area. One of the questions that popped up is from Ivana. She asked, what would be some examples of effective rhetoric?
Effective, well, okay, any sort of persuasive writing or speaking. You can build these types of skills in any of your extracurricular organizations when you take on a leadership role. By taking on that leadership role, you're going to have to be able to communicate in a persuasive way to the members of that group or organization. Really, you could join speech clubs on campus if you are struggling with public speaking, which is one of the #1 fears. They will definitely help you develop those skills to become a public speaker. And every college I've worked with, and I've worked with colleges all across the country, they all have a writing center that is available to students at no cost, and they will help you with writing.
Great advice. I hope that answered your question. We have another question from Jade. I am disabled and I've been seriously struggling with finding ways to balance school and extracurricular opportunities. Because of my lower energy levels and sensory issues, do you have any recommendations for where I can look? Sorry, another question popped up. Where I can look to find supplementary material for the advice you gave tonight?
I would start with your library. You're going to have an accessibility librarian. This is the person that makes sure that all resources at the college are ADA compliant. They will be able to help you find resources on campus that can help you with the challenges that you feel you're facing.
Great. Right.
A lot of people don't know that. Go to the library.
Yeah, the libraries are the great places to go.
Libraries are the engine of all colleges.
Definitely. Mark asks, what are some effective measures to stay optimistic throughout a college career?
Really good question. It would go back to surrounding yourself with people who lift you up and people, you know, if you don't get a good vibe from someone, find someone that is going to give you that good vibe to lift you up. I have a daughter in college right now. She's struggling with this a little bit about finding what I call her tribe. You have to find your tribe, the people who will have your back all the time. That can sometimes be a difficult process to go through, especially when you really don't know anybody on campus. But if you come across somebody that you feel, whether you could start with your professors, that feel that they really have your back, that they're really supporting you, that it's a non-judgment zone, I would start there.
And NSCS is a great opportunity for you to reach out to someone as well. We
Mm-hmm.
are a very close-knit community, and there is someone within the community that you can reach out to help you figure out those ways to balance and stay positive throughout your college career.
And honestly, you all are going through a very odd college experience with COVID. College is not like how it used to be pre-pandemic. It's a little bit different, and I hear stories all the time of students struggling to feel a sense of purpose at college because you're not getting the social activities that you normally would. But they do have student services that you can reach out to, and they'll be able to help you find different ways to connect with other students and programs on campus.
Definitely. We have another question. Are the NSCS groups in colleges a sorority or fraternity? Because I'm looking for where the groups, I'm assuming that you're asking about the chapters themselves. No, they have no affiliation with sororities or fraternities. We're actually an honor society that's high achieving collegiate students. If you want to email nscs@nscs.org regarding locating specific membership opportunities and that for PENS and locating your chapters, I would contact the member success team at that email address. Colleen says, I am an online non-traditional student, and the one thing I struggle with is involvement in extracurriculars that will assist with my future goals. Any suggestion on how I can connect while working full-time and attending school?
This is interesting because my daughter last year as a freshman, she worked the first semester remotely. And so she was living at home and basically living in her bedroom. And, I kept telling her the importance of joining extracurricular activities. So not only did academics have to shift to this remote teaching and learning, but so did a lot of the social organizations. So she joined the German club at her college, and they held Zoom meetings, just similar to what we're doing here. So they weren't physically near each other, but she still was able to connect with these people online. Now that she's at campus, she's now able to meet with them socially. So there's still opportunities. Like I said earlier, everything had to pivot over the last 2 years. So it might not be the same type of experience, but there are still organizations out there that you can join. It'll be a little bit different, hopefully not much longer, but there are some there. And again, I would reach out to student services on your campus to find out what kind of organizations they have.
Colleen, I would also suggest to reach out to NSCS members. We have a ton of full-time, non-traditional online students. I'm one of them myself, actually. And it is tough to find that work balance between school, work, family, friends. It's a tough situation to do. But if you reach out to anyone within the organization that is a non-traditional student, they will give you a tip. A wonderful way for any of our members is to utilize the mentoring program on Scholar Central, even just for simple conversations. It doesn't have to be building your career or or anything like that, you can have a simple meet for coffee conversation to talk to
Mhm.
someone to get tips in that type of setting. That would be my suggestion. All right, do we have any other questions? We still have a little bit of time if you want to get one more question in. Well, thank you everyone for joining us for the NSCS February ScholarCast. And thank you, Karen, for giving a wonderful presentation on power. It was very moving and I hope you all enjoyed it. We will have this recording uploaded to Scholar Central, like I said previously, in the next 48 hours or so. So be on the lookout for an announcement from us saying that it's up and live, ready for you to watch again. All right, well, thank you, Karen, and thank
Thank
you,
you.
everyone. All right, have a wonderful evening, everyone. Bye.